Hello and welcome to another segment of Unplugged TV India. I'm Abhishek Tiwari back again with some major news updates doing round across the world. Indian student dies in Kharkiv shelling. Leave Kyiv urgently by all available means, Indian embassy tells Indian nationals. At least 11 persons including 2 kids injured in glass explosion at maternity and child care hospital. ED summons Nawab Malik's son in connection with 200 crore plot. Russian forces advances on Kyiv, says UK intelligence. India expresses concern over Ukraine's situation. JEE Mains 2022 exam dates announced. European Parliament accepts Ukraine's application for EU membership. Hong Kong prepares for citywide lockdown. Severe rains to hit Sydney. Australia ramps up flood relief preparations. Taiwan will follow Swift's lead, will also send medical help to Ukraine. Poland witnessed a surge of 350,000 refugees from Ukraine. First time since the war broke between Ukraine and Russia, a 22-year-old Naveen Shekharappa, an MBA student from India, died on Tuesday in the eastern Ukrainian city of Kharkiv, the country's second largest city that is being pounded by heavy shelling by Russian forces. The Ministry of External Affairs said that they were in touch with the student's family. With profound sorrow, we confirm that an Indian student lost his life in a shelling in Kharkiv this morning. The ministry is in touch with his family. We convey our deepest condolences to the family. Foreign Secretary is calling in ambassadors of Russia and Ukraine to reiterate our demands for urgent safe passage for Indian nationals who are still in Kharkiv and cities in conflict zones. Similar actions is also being undertaken by our ambassadors in Russia and Ukraine. On Tuesday, Russian forces struck an independence square in central Kharkiv with a powerful explosion. The missile strike hit Kharkiv's Freedom Square in morning of March 1, damaging the Kharkiv Oblast Administration building. State Emergency Service Ukraine informed that 6 people were injured, including 1 child, in the rocket strike by Russian forces. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky condemned the attack and said launching a rocket at the central square of Kharkiv is an outright and undisguised terror. After that, Russia has become a terrorist state. No one will forget. The Indian embassy in Ukraine on Tuesday, in their latest advisory, asked all the students and Indian nationals residing in Kyiv to leave the city immediately. The embassy, through a tweet, said all Indian nationals, including students, are advised to leave the city urgently today, preferably by available trains or through any other means available. Russian forces have struck Independence Square in central Kharkiv with a powerful explosion on Tuesday morning. Blast detonated right in front of the headquarters of the Kharkiv Oblast government. Similarly, Russian forces shelled a rehabilitation center of the Ministry of Veteran Affairs of Ukraine in village of Borodyanka near Kyiv. According to the UN Refugee Agency, more than 500,000 refugees have fled Ukraine amid Russia's war. 160,000 have become internally displaced since the Russian offenses in Ukraine. Earlier on Monday, the Indian embassy released the second advisory to all Indian nationals, including students in Ukraine. The advisory stated that weekend curfew has been lifted in Kyiv. All students were advised to make their way to the railway station for onward journey to the western parts. The embassy informed 400 students housed near embassy since February 24th successfully left Kyiv by trains through missions efforts. Meanwhile, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar on Twitter announced that the 9th flight carrying Indian nationals has set off from Bucharest to New Delhi with 218 Indian nationals. In order to boost the evacuation process, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has called Indian Air Force C-17S. 11 persons, including 2 minors, were injured in gas cylinder explosion in maternity and child care hospital in Anantnag district of Jammu and Kashmir on Tuesday. An explosion was reportedly caused due to gas cylinder leak at the ticket counter of MCCH Anantnag. According to the reports, a commercial cylinder was being used at the hospital. However, no casualties were reported. All the injured, including minors, are stable. Meanwhile, the district administration announced that the government will bear the cost of treatment for all injured. The Enforcement Directorate on Tuesday summoned Faraz Malik, son of NCP leader and Maharashtra Minister Nawab Malik, who is already in police custody in the PMLA case involving underworld don Dawood Ibrahim and an anonymous Mumbai-based politician. The ED wanted him to face his father Nawab Malik as well as few documents and other evidences gathered by them. ED detained Nawab Malik on February 23 and he was later remanded in custody till March 3. According to sources, they have created a money trail that connects Nawab Malik to underworld figures. The sources also informed that they have discovered data from Nawab Malik's Benami assets in a few real estate projects. The dates for joint entrance examination main 2022 exams have been announced. The National Testing Agency will conduct JEE Mains twice this year. The first session of JEE Mains will be held from April 16, while the second session has been scheduled to be conducted from May 24. While the application process for JEE Mains has already begun from March 1, and the last date to fill application form for the first session is March 31st. The British Defence Ministry in their update informed that the Russian advances on Kyiv has made little progress in the last 24 hours, most likely due to ongoing logistical difficulties. The update also reads that Russian forces have increased their use of artillery north of Kyiv and in vicinities of Kharkiv and Cherniv. The use of heavy artillery in densely populated urban areas greatly increases the risk of civilian casualties. India has expressed grave concerns about the deteriorating situation in Ukraine and reiterated its call for an immediate cessation of violence and an end to hostilities, stating that all differences can only be bridged through honest, sincere and sustained dialogues. E.S. Trimurthy, India's permanent representative to the United Nations, told a rare emergency special sessions of the United General Assembly on Ukraine convened on Monday that New Delhi is doing everything possible to expedite the evacuation of Indian nationals still stuck in Ukraine. He further said that India is deeply concerned about the deteriorating situation in Ukraine as the global concern grew. Both the UN's major bodies, the 193 Nation Assembly and the smaller, more powerful Security Council, took the unusual steps, holding simultaneous scheduled meetings on the war. The UN Human Rights Council voted in Geneva to hold its own emergency sessions. During the Assembly's first emergency meeting, Ukrainian ambassadors said if Ukraine does not survive, international peace will perish. Believe nothing. We should not be surprised if democracy fails. Next, if Ukraine does not survive. One day after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky applied for Ukraine's membership in the European Union, the European Parliament on Tuesday accepted the request. The development came soon after Zelensky addressed the Parliament. Zelensky on Tuesday received a standing ovation at the European Parliament soon after his address was over. His address came amid tensions in Ukraine, but he said that the people of Ukraine are strong. We are fighting for our land and for our freedom, despite the fact that all our cities are now blocked. Nobody is going to break us. We are strong. We are Ukrainians. I am glad that we have united all of you, the countries of European Union today, but I did not know that I would have such a high price. It's a tragedy for me, for every Ukrainian, for our country, he added. He further added that we are just fighting for our land and for our freedom. And believe me, despite the fact that all the big cities of our countries are now blocked, no one will enter our freedom and state. Today we pay for values, for rights, for freedom, just for the desire to be equal, the same as you. We pay with our best people, the strongest, extraordinary Ukrainians. On Tuesday, Hong Kong residents prepared for a city-wide lockdown by exempting supermarkets and pharmacies, even as leader Carrie Lam pleaded for calm and said the public should not be concerned about a mandatory mass COVID testing plans. The mass testing of the city's 7.4 million citizens will take place over 9 days, beginning on the second part of March. The discovery raised fear that many people would be forced to isolate themselves, and the family members who tested positive will be split up. Military helicopters evacuated stranded individuals from rooftop of flooded communities in eastern Australia, and a 10th victim was discovered on Tuesday, following days of severe rain. The death toll rose to 10 after a woman in her 80s was discovered dead inside a flooded home, according to the authorities. Floodwaters from the downpour, which began late last week, have flooded many towns and bridges in Queensland and New South Wales and are spreading south with heavy rains and possible flash flooding expected in Sydney. Taiwan will join efforts to prohibit some Russian banks from using SWIFT international payment system and has sent humanitarian aid to Ukraine to show support for the international democratic camp. Taiwan has joined Western-led partners in imposing sanctions on Russia for its invasion of Ukraine, expressing cross-party support for the Ukrainian people and drawing parallel with Taipei sees as Beijing's threat to the island. According to the Polish Deputy Interior Ministry, some 350,000 people have entered Poland from Ukraine since Russia invaded the country. Now, if you like our content, then please hit like, share and subscribe to our channel. And for more such updates, keep watching Unplugged TV India.